Hello, Photo 269 students. This is Justin Sotelo, one of your instructors for this course. I wanted to take an opportunity to discuss with you one of your assignments this week, and that is the location research presentation. Clicking over to modules and week 2. This is not live yet, but it will be here shortly. So this week will be focused on location research. You have 3 assignments this week. We have a reading assignment from the required textbook for this course, the Photographer's Portfolio Development Workshop, pages 1 through 16. The reading here, introduction and lesson 1. And then the research presentation that I'm going to be discussing with you. And then you also have a discussion assignment this week. You'll do your initial post by Friday, and Friday the 29th, and then you will respond to 2 of your peers by Sunday night, the 31st. Okay, so for this discussion item, you're going to indicate the top 3 locations you plan to visit on our trip, and you'll mention 2 techniques that you plan to execute during the trip. Okay, so examples could be long exposure, utilizing filters, HDR, bracketing, panorama, ICM, etc. Okay, but let's get back to the research presentation assignment. Okay, so let me pull up the example here. And this is from our coastal photography class a couple of semesters ago. So again, Ryan utilized Studio Binder, I believe, to put this together. But you can use whatever application you want. So just some basic information here on the title slide or the title card, the location we'll be visiting, the name of the class, the instructors. We're also mentioning where we were staying at the time, the motel or the hotel. Just some basic information on the title page. And then you'll also want to begin to research weather conditions and any other conditions that might apply, road conditions, etc. There have been some road closures in Death Valley. There was a road closure in Alabama Hills. We were there just a couple of weeks ago. So just being mindful of those types of things. And we realize, or you should realize, that weather conditions can change every day, basically. So you'll want to kind of take a look at what the predicted conditions are now, and then just be monitoring that all the way up until the dates of travel. And again, as a reminder, our travel dates are April 26th through the 28th. So that's Friday through Sunday. We will again be, Ryan and I will be lodging in Lone Pine. Okay, that's right on Highway 395. Okay. And then the primary locations that we plan to visit will be Alabama Hills, which is just west of Lone Pine. So Alabama Hills, there's the Mount Whitney is in that area as well. We also plan to visit Death Valley. So driving out to Death Valley, which is east of Lone Pine, you'll want to anticipate at least a 1 to 1.5 hour drive. We drove all the way down to Badwater Basin, which was about 2 additional hours into Death Valley from Lone Pine. Anyway, those are basically the primary locations we'll be visiting. But you want to be mindful of weather conditions, road conditions. If you and also you'll want to look at if you plan to do night photography, which we plan to do, you'll want to be looking at the the moon phase, if there are opportunities to do astrophotography, that sort of thing. I haven't had an opportunity to look at that in detail at this point, but those are the types of things you want to be looking at. Okay. You'll also want to be mindful of sunrise and sunset times. Okay. We will very likely be doing sunrise and sunset. So just knowing what time the sun's going to be rising, what time the sun is going to be setting, and then planning, you know, enough time, to get to those locations to get your shots. Okay. Okay, so just more weather conditions here. You'll also want to be familiar with the locations and kind of, know where you're going, have kind of a sense of, the location, that sort of thing. So looking at maps, getting familiar with the roads, that sort of thing. The other thing I want to mention is that there is basically zero cell phone service in the areas that we'll be visiting. So again, we were in Alabama Hills, we were in Death Valley, and we basically had like no cell phone service. So knowing where you're going, being familiar with these locations in advance, um, you know, reviewing maps, knowing the roads, that sort of thing, is going to be part of your research as well. Okay. And then more specifically, you should start thinking about specific locations that you would like to photograph. So again, this is a sample presentation from our coastal photography class. So we mentioned 4 locations that we photographed. So there was South Beach. Okay, so there's a sample photograph here from Ryan, and then just some information here about the location. So you'll want to start researching specific locations. We also photographed the Point Reyes Lighthouse. So again, just kind of researching these specific areas, getting familiar with them, looking at sample photographs from these locations, and then just some general information about that location, and then some opportunities that could happen at these locations. So here, Ryan mentions photographic techniques to try at this specific location. So sunrise or sunset. He mentions HDR, long exposure, utilizing graduated filters, and possibly astrophotography as well. So start to think about opportunities at these specific locations. Okay. We also visited the Cypress Tree Tunnel. Okay. So just some general information here about that location. And then just kind of being familiar with what, like here he mentions, what the parking looked like at that location. Okay. So just kind of being familiar or getting familiar with what you're looking at any given location. And then we also photographed the Point Reyes shipwreck at night one evening, and again mentioning some opportunities or techniques to try at this specific location. Okay, so you could shoot sunrise, sunset, and then just mentioning specific techniques, HDR, long exposure, astrophotography, etc. Okay. So this is just a sample presentation. And again, your presentation does not need to be identical to this, but this is just kind of a format that you could follow if you choose to. Okay. And again, this was put together utilizing Studio Binder, but you could instead, utilize PowerPoint, Keynote, or any other comparable presentation software. We also mentioned some photography applications and research tools that can assist you with your research. And we will likely be utilizing, utilize PhotoPills quite a bit on location. So here's a link to that application. This does come with a cost if you choose to download this application, but it is a really good app, but it is kind of maybe a little on the pricey side. But take a look at that. There's also Photo Ephemeris. Skyview Lite, I believe, is a free application. And then if you want to further research weather conditions, here's a link to a site called Clear Outside. There are all sorts of applications and tools that you can utilize. There's also a supplemental video here that we've posted that mentions some of these apps. Okay, so again, just some additional applications and tools that you can utilize with your research. Let's see, what else did I want to discuss? I think more specifically, I wanted to give you some examples. So Ryan and I did some scouting of the area a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to give you, and again, yeah, I wanted to mention we are staying at the Dow Villa in Lone Pine. Ryan and I will be coming in on Thursday, one day early, just to do some additional scouting. But students are not required to come in until Friday. So Friday and Saturday night, and then departing on Sunday. But if you have not already secured your lodging, please do that ASAP. I believe there's another event happening that weekend in the area, so there may be limited lodging. So again, this is where we will be staying. Some other options would be the Best Western or the Quality Inn. There are also some other options. So take a look at that. Get your lodging secured ASAP because we want to make sure everybody is locked in. Let's see. So I just wanted to share with you. So again, I mentioned one of the locations we'll be visiting is Alabama Hills, which is just west of Lone Pine, probably maybe 10 to 15 minutes. We will likely be doing some night photography or sunset, sunrise photography in this area. But just to kind of give you a sense of what the landscape looks like, these were taken a couple of years ago on this same field trip. So a couple of structures here that we photographed. This is called, I think it's just referred to as the boot. There might be a more specific name, but anyway, did some night photography here. There's also, this is referred to as Mobius Arch, and there is a path that leads to this structure here. There's kind of a loop that leads out to this. So we will definitely be visiting these two areas in Alabama Hills for most likely night photography. But we'll also revisit the area probably for sunrise as well. So that's Alabama Hills. Another location we visited was driving into Death Valley. We went to the Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes. Again, these were taken a couple of years ago, but just some amazing sand dunes. We were here for sunset a couple of years ago. And then, again, these were taken a couple of weeks ago, or March 11th through the 13th. So Ryan and I were doing some additional scouting specifically for this trip. So again, we went to Alabama Hills. We were there for sunset, just some early night photography. So just some examples of what we got that evening. The next day we went out to Mesquite Flat sand dunes again. This was at sunset. And then the last day we were there, we drove back into Death Valley. We went to Badwater Basin. And this was a pretty epic experience. If you've done any research at this point, if you're able to see this location now with water in the basin and in the lake area, it's kind of a rare occurrence. So it was kind of an amazing experience to kind of witness this. So again, this was on March 13th. We were there for sunset. We'll just have to see. Hopefully there will still be some water in the area, but we'll have to see. It'll be a month from now, so we will just have to see. Let's see, what else would I like to discuss? I think that is about it. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of the location research presentation and the week 2 module, which will go live here in just a moment. You'll have the objectives and tasks for the week, information about this specific assignment, and then we've also listed or provided some supplemental information here that Ryan has provided on a photo project by Rachel Talabart. So it's an interview, so just something that will get you kind of thinking about your project, your portfolio, this trip, etc. Okay, and then if you have any general questions about the trip, there is a general Q&A discussion item here. Again, the reading assignment for the week and lesson 1 from the required textbook. This is where you will submit your location research presentation right here. It's worth 100 points. And then again, you also have a discussion assignment this week where you will indicate your top 3 locations that you would like to visit and discuss 2 techniques that you would like to potentially execute on location, and then to do a response to your peers by Sunday night, the 31st. Okay, so I think that concludes my my discussion here for the evening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us via email or via Canvas inbox, and we look forward to discussing more with you in the coming weeks. Okay, thank you for listening. Have a good night.